Hello everybody and welcome to Off the Rack, the comic book review show where we take a comic from last week, or a number of comics nowadays.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot this week.
Talk about them and then let you know what we thought about them, and then of course give you recommendations of books that come out this week that we think you should pick up. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
A lot came out last week.
It really did. Sorry, I was literally reading the chat and then I was like, he's talking to me. He said his name.
I'm Sal.
Oh, and I'm me.
Take it away.
Yeah, hey guys. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about this week. Can I talk about something really quick that's nothing to do with comics?
Please do,
I don't know if
yes.
anybody's gonna notice, but like, I got my hair cut, and I just wanted to know I hate it because it's too short, and I didn't. It's this is like my little vlog moment here, where it was like I called the person I usually go to, and they're like, by the way, she only works like Saturdays over the summer.
I know.
Just one day a week. She's booked the Saturday that I was like potentially could have gone. So yesterday she was off the following Saturday, and I was like, I'm never gonna get my hair cut. So she's like, let me give you someone I recommend. I was like, great. And yeah, it's too short. It's too short, and I hate it. Anyway.
No, it's true. But I like it.
I
think
don't.
It's fine.
I don't.
So yeah, by the way, we are going to be talking about Tom
Yes.
King's Batman number 50. So if you don't want to be spoiled, please stay out of this episode because it's all going to be spoilers.
We're gonna do that a little later on.
Yeah.
And this isn't going. We tried this week, honestly. Like somehow it kind of worked out where it's like we're gonna definitely talk about some books we did not like this week. Mm-hmm. But we're also going to talk about a lot of books we really enjoyed this week.
That's true.
So it's going to be a little bit of everything.
That's right.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Robert Hicks from the Super Chat said, until Tom King leaves, I'm never buying Batman again.
It's fair enough.
I don't blame you. And Tales from Island Z, what was in that prenup? I guess that explains like why things that took place in 50 would have happened, I guess.
Right.
It's a good one, solid joke. Hope it landed at your comic book store. So yeah, let's jump into it. The first one we're going to talk about is the death of the Gremlins themselves. Death of Inhumans, #1, written by Donny Cates.
Yep.
With actually really, really incredible looking art by Ariel Olivetti.
Yeah. So the reason we ended up picking this up was because
You were just so taken. We were at the midnight
we
release.
went to the midnight release. I was so taken by this variant. I know it's like
it's an homage to the death of Elektra.
And I know that, but like I was so just like blown away by like the movement and the emotion and just the whole nine with this cover. So we actually left the midnight release and we came back because I won the raffle prize at the midnight release, which was really nice because that was the day I got the haircut and I
needed to pick me up.
I really needed that pick me up.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting this, which is funny because it's like I was like Medusa wouldn't have this haircut.
Yeah, unless she was on the show.
Yes,
But Medusas are really easy to draw. Like she lends herself really well to like artistic expression. Like you can do some really powerful stuff with Medusa.
It's not just her hair. Like they did such a good job on her face. Like I just love this cover. I had to own this image.
That's the Russell Dowderman variant, by the way.
I had to own this.
Yeah,
so
it's actually way better than the regular cover.
Yeah.
Because I tried to use it for a couple of thumbnails, and I've just been like, I hate that cover. I think it's like a stock image of a skeleton, and then they just like slapped on like the top half of Black Bolt's mask and like superimposed some really too dark images. Just really sucked.
Right.
I was like, not great, but this is not bad.
But because I bought it, I was like, let me read it, and then I read it. Here's what's funny, everybody. Was totally not paying attention to this whole book. Obviously, as you can see, there are no credits on the cover except the person who did the cover.
Yeah.
I didn't know Donny Cates wrote this until I got to the last page.
Mm-hmm.
Which was funny because it's just that let me read it without being like
biased.
No, yeah, exactly. I was completely objective by it because I didn't know who wrote it. So I was just reading along, and I gotta tell you, I really liked it.
Yeah, well, let's jump into what happens in this book. The idea is, of course, that the Inhumans are off. They have a new city, and the Kree have decreed, if you will, that the Inhumans either need to join or die. That's the very simple message that they've embedded into the bodies of many a subject of the 5 families of the Inhuman.
Embedded.
Yeah, well, like etched with some kind of cutting implement.
Some sort of sharp item.
Yes, but Inhumans are being slaughtered across the galaxy by ostensibly the Kree Empire, or most specifically by an emissary, more like a bastardization of the Inhumans themselves, an emissary from that group known as Vox.
Yes.
Kind of like inverted Black Bolt
like
character.
a super Inhuman.
Like a super, and in fact, not even like.
No.
They're called Super Inhumans, which like, fine.
Yeah.
But, so Black Bolt gets the word. He's going to make some time with the other 4 members of the houses of the Inhumans.
The 4 queens.
Because we got to do in Game of Thrones the Inhumans. And so he goes to meet with them, and it turns out that they were all slaughtered.
Yeah, because they tried, like, they started the meeting before them.
Yes, because like, they knew, and in fact, Kate's narration also indicates that Black Bolt will vote for war.
Yeah.
Join or die, he chooses death.
Well, he chooses neither.
Well, he's just like, he chooses cake. And instead,
he's gonna eat it too.
But the other 4 are like, Black Bolt's going to go to war. We got to make peace with these people. So they take joining. They take surrender.
Well, they're just meeting, and all of a sudden he shows up, and they're like, "Hello."
Yeah. Well, no, they
and then they're like,
as I understand it, they vote, and then Vox shows up, and then Vox is like, and the narration kind of indicates that Vox is like, the Kree won't have cowards in our army.
And like, we didn't really want you.
Yeah, we're kind of really going for like the main Inhumans. It's kind of like a meta-textual talk about like, well, we don't really care about like these new Inhumans. We don't care about making more Inhumans. It's more like, we just want like the main Inhumans that people like or remember.
Yeah. Also, they weren't part of a prophecy.
Yeah, and Black Bolt is.
Yeah. So, we just kind of got to get this whole Black Bolt situation under wraps.
Yeah, and we're going to do it by creating like an endless sprawling like war of death.
Yeah, and like really this issue kicks it off where like, first of all, the cover indicates one thing.
Yes.
Which I love that.
Oh no, Black Bolt's going to die.
Yeah, right? And then, you definitely see, several Inhumans that may or may not care about who are dead.
I certainly don't recognize them.
Then the 4 queens die, and then we actually have someone who, is among...
Yes, Triton.
Yes.
Goes to inspect... Well, he gets the gist of it through a telepathic mind meld with one of the queens.
Yeah, because someone's still kind of... No,
not quite dead, yeah.
I think it's one of their emissaries. She's still alive, and it's like, it's so funny because you can immediately see that something's up. Like, something's not right there. Mm-hmm. And you're like,
Yeah, but the body's rigged, and it's set to explode and kill anyone in the near proximity. Mm-hmm. It only gets Triton before Lockjaw's teleportation powers kick in and save the other Inhumans you care about. Mm-hmm. So like Crystal and Lockjaw and Medusa and Black Bolt. And Karnak and the other guy, the one who was voiced by Michael Dorn in the Fantastic Four cartoon. But by the way, so Triton dies, no skin off my back, but Medusa gets washed up from Serenity. She gets mortally wounded, or at least seemingly mortally wounded.
Yeah, she's got a big thing sticking out of her gut, basically. Yeah. And, like, so they end up putting her in, like...
a stasis chamber?
Yeah, of sorts. And, like, that I thought was honestly, like... I thought that was a really nice scene, because, like, presumably Medusa thinks she's going to die.
Yes.
We don't know her fate as of yet, obviously. And she wants Black Bolt to tell her that he loves her, but she wants him to say it.
Right, and it's like, yeah, but I would eradicate you. And it's like, yeah, kill me, because I know I'm going to die.
I don't even know if
or maybe she's just so delirious.
I think that she's just like, I've never heard you say it. I want you, or, whatever. But like, I want you to say the words to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to sign it.
Right.
It's another thing to hear you say it.
It's true.
And like, that's, and like, I think that's very sweet. That's a very nice little, like, moment between the two of them. But meanwhile, like, they're basically, they haven't pieced together yet where they need to be, and they're just kind of like regrouping. Mm-hmm. But back on New Artillon.
Yes.
I have to be careful because I really want to call it New Atillon.
No, it's not. It's
Artillon.
Arctillon, unless the C is silent, in which case it's Artillon. I don't know.
Right. Vox has shown up, and he's laying waste.
Wrecking everybody.
Right? To all the Inhumans who are there. Mm-hmm. And then...
he comes upon Maximus the Mad, who is, of course, a force to be reckoned with in and of himself.
Yep.
He breaks out a sweet-ass gun and tries to hold his own.
And he does for quite a while.
Yes, until Black Bolt gets the idea in his craw to go rescue his mad brother.
Well, no, he realizes where they've gone.
Well, they gotta go to the, they gotta go to Arctillon.
We have to go home. That's what they want us to come here, and we need to go home right now. And so he goes into, like, this little room.
Like a jump drive room where it's like, okay, we gotta make the ship go faster. How are we gonna do that? We'll power it using your voice powers.
Yep.
So... Black Bolt says go. They get into range of Lockjaw's teleportation powers. Lockjaw shows up in the room first.
Yep.
And he aids Maximus the Mad in his defense against Vox.
Yeah, like he picks up Vox like a chew toy.
Yeah, and it's pretty awesome.
Away.
And Talon 134. This makes me sad. Charles Soule's run was so solid. I've heard really good things about it. I have all the trades. I just haven't had a chance to pick it up because like whatever. But so Vox had enough, and then he breaks out kind of like variant on Black Bolt's voice powers.
Yeah.
Where he shoots like beams that create big orbs of empty space.
Yeah.
And he kills Maximus Mad, and more importantly, he kills everyone's favorite Inhuman, Lockjaw. So we lose 3 key members of the royal family in this book: Triton, Maximus, and Lockjaw.
And Medusa's down for the count.
And
presumably.
Medusa's at least off the board for a while.
Yeah.
We also lose one of the most powerful players in the human family because Lockjaw is their teleporter. They can't just be anywhere now. They are subject to conventional means of transportation.
Exactly.
Oh, and interstellar travel as well.
Yeah, and voice travel.
Yeah, but by the way, there's a cool narrative device that keeps going through where Black Bolt is chronicling the names of the dead.
Yes,
and he's filling his book with it, and each
book
is weighed heavier by the words.
Yeah,
by each adding name.
Yeah, so
it's even the narrator says you're gonna be really sad to lose Lockjaw.
Yeah, it's true, and I also appreciate Kate's bringing this around to Rome.
Oh my God, yeah, it opens up where
a clever way to immediately give you an idea of what's going to happen.
Yep.
Don't be surprised.
No, the writing in this was superb.
Yeah.
That not only the echoing of the Rome thing, but the last line of the book.
Yes, and honestly, this is why I was always I think why I was a little disappointed by what he did with Strange.
Right, because it's you were expecting this kind of greatness.
Yes.
And it was just something else.
Yes, exactly. It was something else.
But that being said, this is one of my favorite Inhumans as single issues of all time. It has nothing to do with the fact that I don't like them. And here's the thing.
And that they're dying.
And that they're all going to go away. It's that, and by the way, it comes on the eve of a bunch of death books, Death of X, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually kind of awesome. It's awesomely written. I like characters who are kind of pushed to the lowest depths, only to have them hopefully rise up. If this book were just a Slaughterfest where it's like a Saw movie or a Final Destination flick, I would be disappointed. Not just because because I want these characters to be cool.
No, I was going to equate it to a mythical animal, but it's going to immediately conjure another idea. But I'm still going to do it. It's like with an actual phoenix.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Not the phoenix.
They have to.
Phoenix.
What makes them so special?
It has to die.
It has to die before it can be reborn. So, I don't know. I think that's cool.
I agree. Martin Archuleta, thanks for being awesome. Are you guys reading The Immortal Hulk? I'm digging it. Tiffany, your hair looks great.
Thank you. I feel like it doesn't, but I really appreciate that. I kind of want to go and pick up Immortal Hulk because a lot of people are saying it has certain horror elements to it. And I've seen some really great panels from it. I'm just kind of kind of want to be on board for that.
I hear it's great. I also saw that hilarious page from an upcoming Champions where Amadeus Cho is like, I'm not Hulk anymore, so I'm going to be called this.
Brawn?
Brawn.
Like the brawny towel guy?
Yeah, so he needs to get some flannel shirts. The problem with Brawn, by the way, just a quick tangent, is the best name for Red Hulk was Tank.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like a general.
Right.
And also he's the tank of the Avengers.
Yeah.
But they never did it. So now you have the opportunity to actually do Tank, and they still don't do it, and instead it's this lame-ass name. Anyway, Hulk's back. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what else is cool? Death of Inhumans #1. I highly recommend this book. Not only just because, yay, the Inhumans are going away, but for me, it made me feel bad for them.
It really
made me feel bad for crapping on them for so many years. I was like, if it were interesting, and if it weren't that they were replacing the X, if it wasn't so obvious that it was no, you want to see, this is a book that almost you didn't need to kill the Inhumans. You need to put them on a planet called Attilan and just drop them someplace and leave them alone.
Yeah,
that would have been enough for me.
It's almost like a weird Ultimate Universe kind of situation
exactly.
where they're over there.
They're over there. They got their own shit to do,
and they got a lot of things happening.
And that would have been fine. And yet to see them die like this made me kind of sad.
No, it's true.
And it was, and you know why? I think because it's well done. It's not
really well.
It's not hacky or obnoxious. It's not gratuitous or frustrating.
No.
It's just very expertly handled.
No, and honestly, the way it's written and the way Cates handles it overall, it really creates an excellent feeling of hopelessness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's how could they possibly come back from this even remotely?
Right.
And what will happen to the survivors if there are any?
Yeah.
I'm just that's just
right. And for me, I hope there are some. I hope people make it.
Well, I wish it had been Lockjaw, but whatever.
I do too. But it's but you know what? You gotta do that.
Yeah.
In order to raise stakes, make it serious, put them in a place where they can't just teleport where they can't just go to Avengers Mansion and be I know that we're lame, but can you help us out? So yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited for the implications of the cosmology.
Yes, and I'm hoping we get some more sweet variants like this.
Totally. Well,
I'm just
Dowderman knows what he's doing. But so yeah, check it out.
Absolutely,
I recommend it.
Yeah, I absolutely recommend it as well. And honestly, the interior art's great too. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Really good job.
Oh yeah.
Not quite as expressive.
No, but I liked it.
It's kind of gritty.
Yep.
And like dark and like kind of somber feeling.
But not
and
stylized. It's a straightforward story.
Yep.
It's straightforward art. They're not. They're bringing their A game. The art is not like it's not a superstar artist.
No.
But it's also not like an artist who shouldn't be doing this book.
No, and it doesn't feel, and this I don't mean this negatively, but it doesn't feel like a standard superhero book, which I think is kind of cool considering the topic at hand. Yeah, and also that. But yeah, so there you go.
So yeah. You heard it here first. I dug an Inhumans book.
I know. I was like, I can't believe this.
I know.
Incredible. I read it first. I was like, you gotta read this.
Yeah, and I read it. I'm like, this is really
you gotta
good.
read it. It's so good.
I think it's 6 issues, but I hope it is only 6 issues.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's really solid.
Yeah. So now we're gonna talk about a book that we didn't enjoy so much this week.
Yeah. Although interestingly enough, I kind of dug this one too. So we'll talk about it. By the way, Liam Gibbons, have any survivors, aka Black Bolt, joined the X-Men?
This one?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll tell you why in a little bit. Like when we get into it.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about Man of Steel #6, written by Brian Michael Bendis.
But you didn't answer the question.
Oh, sorry. I answered it in my mind. Liam Gibbons, have any survivors Black Bolt joined the X-Men? Do you mean like have them do that? Or do you mean have they ever? Because have they ever? I don't think so. I think it's more like the Inhumans have brought in people like Johnny Storm, but like I think Crystal did something once, but I don't recall. But that'd be cool. Although it would be, and that would actually cause some great dramatic tension to have like Inhumans, because they just had that Inhumans versus X-Men war.
Yeah, and then
have
they
the
have
X-Men be like, look who comes crawling back.
Right.
No, the trick to do with the Inhumans is just make them Fantastic Four sub-characters again. Like have Crystal join the Fantastic Four.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like she did the first time. But yeah, so Man of Steel #6.
Yeah.
From DC Comics, written by Brian Michael Bendis, this time with art entirely by Jason Fabok.
Yeah, and I expected a little more from it.
Yeah. So this is the final issue.
This is it.
Of the miniseries that's contexting the Superman run. Superman #1 comes out this week on Wednesday, so it's getting us ready for the Bendis period of Superman, and so yeah, we're getting more Rogol Zaar, and like if you couldn't see the ending coming, then you haven't read enough comic books. So let's jump into it. Superman fights Rogol Zaar
in the center of
in
the
the
earth.
center of the earth, which is like the kind of thing you'd hear from like, meanwhile in the center of the earth,
Exactly.
Superman fights Rogol Zaar, who's the name of my dentist. So yeah. By the way, Rogol Zaar apparently, either Rogol or Zaar or some variation thereof is the name of the doctor who helped perform the surgery that saved Bendis' life.
Yeah, so
he like
naturally
you
named
thanks.
You named this.
You
like,
named your lamest character
your hideous
after him.
monster man.
Yeah, he's a character that will be the most criticized.
Well, maybe he's like, like he destroyed the disease that plagued Bendis' body. So is Rogol Zaar
plaguing the curse of,
or reaping havoc on the.
It's true.
Kryptonian
disease plaguing the galaxy. Mod King Mopey, by the way, good boy cries. Oh,
yeah.
Make me sad
Sorry,
about
Lockjaw.
You know, by the way, in memoriam to Lockjaw, we have a Lockjaw plush doll that we're going to keep on the back issue set here on out. In memoriam until Lockjaw returns. When Lockjaw returns, he'll
we'll put a little black armband on him.
Oh.
Or a little collar. I don't know. I don't want to demean him.
But you will see him there. So. So anyway, he fights Rogol Zaar. I mean, like, here's the short version. He fights Rogol Zaar until Supergirl does. The end.
Yeah. Like,
it doesn't matter. Rogol Zaar's fight has nothing to do with this book.
No, because he's just like, I have to outthink him. I have to do the thing I should have done before. Anyway.
But then he doesn't.
Yeah, no.
I'm circumventing expectations, Tiffany.
No, you're not.
Because you think like, oh, Superman's gonna finally fight Rogol Zaar on an intelligent level. Then Supergirl shows up with the Phantom Zone drive, which conveniently enough wasn't destroyed in the Fortress of Solitude.
Oh no, she had it at her house because she was getting rid of a couple of things she didn't want.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So anyway, she sends him to the Phantom Zone in the end.
Yeah, because, that way we can deal with him later.
You don't kill a cash cow like Rogol Zaar. You put him in the stable for later. Anyway, the point of the book is to tell you what happens to John and Lois.
Yeah, that was the whole reason for this issue.
If you have not seen our previous episode of Off the Rack, Tiffany thought of a interesting theory, which was that maybe it's actually a twofer, and John goes with Jor-El under the condition that Lois comes too. And that's what happened. And if you recall, I said, hey, I kind of like that idea if that's the case. And sure enough, that's what they did. They did it straight up. Like, Perry fires Lois as a result of her wanting to take an indeterminate amount of time off.
Yep.
So Lois is going to write a book.
Yeah, but I'm like, you can't write a book about this. Nobody knows you're married to Superman.
Right.
What are you doing out there?
What are you doing? Yeah, Superman's dad asked me to go with him across the galaxy, and so I met a lot of neat people.
He really liked some of the articles I wrote about
his
son.
Thought it'd be kind of fun.
If maybe he had one too.
Makes no sense within the context of Superman.
That part I was like, ugh.
But if you need to justify getting rid of Lois, that's your justification.
I guess, yeah.
That's her justification, her character reason for going, besides wanting to protect her son.
Yeah.
But also...
from a Kryptonian.
Right. By the way, they also explain why Superman brings back his old costume that in the current continuity he never had. And the reason is because the new suit that you like, the Rebirth suit with no trunks, that one he gives to Lois as like a Kryptonian battle armor.
Yeah.
Which is different from the Kryptonian battle armor that he wore in the New 52, which is actual Kryptonian battle armor, which I hate, but at least if you're going to use it, it might as well make sense to give it to Lois so that it protects her. This one he gives her is just like a suit.
But it changes.
Yeah, but you push a belt buckle and it shrinks like Spider-Man's costume in Homecoming. Yeah. So, that'll be cool. Except, of course, that Lois, was Superwoman for a little while before she died.
Yes.
And then, her spirit got merged with her pre-New 52 self and became Lois. What? Hey, DC, can you do me a favor? Can you have a crisis and release a friggin' book that tells me what happened and what didn't? Because that would be great. Because, I gotta tell you, I don't know what's happening, and it's getting harder and harder to keep things straight, and so that's why I'm proposing that you hire someone called a continuity director.
Yep.
And their job is to read everything and determine, kind of like how Lucasfilm said they were going to create, a board of, Star Wars nerds who were going to, determine what was going to be in continuity and what wasn't. Do that for your comics.
Yeah.
Because I don't know which end is up. And when you keep doing things like Dark Knight's Metal, it gets more and more confusing. You get to the point where, when you read Batman 50, they're going to refer to, 3 different kinds of continuity.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's happening. Everything's sideways. So anyway, get that going because this makes no sense. But, that's fine because also you got Bendis, who is, the continuity director's worst nightmare. Anyway.
It really is.
So... yeah.
So, after a long and, not... I didn't like the conversations.
They're terrible. It's not even worth talking about.
Okay.
They're bad.
Yeah.
It's Bendis at his worst.
Yeah.
It's not like Ultimate Spider-Man where, you see May and Peter talking, and it's like, oh, it's real. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's more like when you see Peter talking to, what's his name? Shocker in Ultimate Spider-Man, where you're like, oh, who says that?
That's fair. So yeah, at the end of the day, that's exactly what happens. She goes off.
She leaves with Jor-El and John. John acts like, also, they spelled Damien wrong. Yeah. Hey, nice job.
Yeah. Whoops.
Now that one, obviously Bendis doesn't know who Damien is, so you can't blame Bendis for spelling Damien wrong.
Yeah.
But you can blame the editor for not fixing it. It's just a letter.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true.
Mr. Roboto, problem Catwoman and Batman are too committed. That's a problem. They're too committed. I don't know if that's the problem.
Well, it could be on a couple of different levels.
We'll talk about Batman in a minute.
We will. We're gonna get there. I don't know. This issue in particular for me was so I have all these loose threads, and even if they don't
ever address them,
yeah, or I'll just address them really quickly, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
He likes that. He likes to do that.
Literally, at the end when Supergirl shows up and she's got the Phantom
Zone
thing,
projector.
Green Lantern's there too.
Yeah, because he was going to step in and save the day.
Right, but
we got to make it a super problem.
But why put him in the panel?
Because I wanted to see Green Lantern in there.
Okay, cool. And then at the end, they hold a little
vigil for Kandor.
Yeah.
Hey, will Rogolzar slaughter everyone in the Phantom Zone since they're all Kryptonian?
Right. Or will he make friends?
Will he meet Zod?
Oh, also we got rid of Kara too.
Oh yeah, Kara leaves too.
Because she's going to find out what's going on.
I'm sure she will.
She might.
You know what Bendis' problem is? He's used to his books coming out a month at a time.
Yeah.
So you forget how bad the last issue was or how, everything was whatever. So you just remembered you kind of enjoyed it. And then you read the next issue and you didn't necessarily read the last issue. So you're like, oh yeah, this is kind of fun. But when they come out once a week. Is Zod gone though? Izzy, somebody asked in the chat, like, they're like, but Zod's gone. Like, first of all, which Zod? There's 3 Zods. Secondly, is he really? Because Bendis is writing it. And thirdly, like I said, there's multiple Zods.
Yeah, but also there could be easily other Kryptonians hanging around.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Fandom Zone.
Yeah. Hey, is Mon-El still in there? Rusky9110 says they did refer to Super Sons of Tomorrow, so Bendis did read something.
No,
Yes.
he'll read certain things.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the thing.
But not... I don't know. This just was too long. There's just too many issues to tell this, like, prelude to all of your books.
Yes.
Too long to do this. You didn't need this many issues at all.
Oh, no, that's the thing. This might have been cool if it was 3 issues.
Yeah, I could have done 3 issues.
This was, yeah.
It was just a little too much for me. Like, just too spread out and, like, trying to make too much of a mystery out of it. It's like, you don't try to make the mystery, just
because especially when there is no mystery. Like, I'm trying to invent a mystery where there is none.
Yeah.
The mystery of where I put your keys. And then when you find out that I put them in the place I normally put my keys, you've solved the like, no, you just use common sense.
No, it's true. And I gotta say, I don't know how I feel about the fact that part of the reason that John wanted to leave was because he didn't get onto the Titans.
Right.
And I don't like the concept of, like, I don't know, like Superman and Lois' son running away from his problem like that. Like, that's exactly, he's like abandoning the entire planet.
But then we won't have, like, cool adult John. Or we won't have, like, young John eventually come back and go like, hey, as it turns out, you can't run away from your problems. I learned a lesson today.
Yeah, your parents have been teaching you that lesson forever. Your dad, like, exemplifies that
in fact, I'm named after, like, the moral beacon of my father, so herp.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's...
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, I remember in Super Sons when that happened, and it was awesome because Damian was, like, furious, and he's like, screw them, we'll fix this.
Yeah.
Let's ignore that. Silver Cricket, Zod is currently in a Green Lantern book. He has his own planet where he and his family rule. Yeah, exactly. That one Zod. Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Mod King, John, sure, I won't miss my friends. Take me away, evil grandpa who I have met. But don't remember, Mom, you should bring the Hellbat armor or not. Because, that would have been also awesome.
Yeah.
Nope. It's a big fat waste of time with some pretty pictures.
It was, I really wasn't too impressed with some of Fabic's stuff this time around.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I like Fabic Superman. It looks like it looks like classic Superman.
Yeah, it was just, everything was kind of stiff and just kind of like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so sick of seeing Rogozar's face.
Oh my god. Thankfully it's in the Phantom Zone for now.
No, it's true. This whole thing was kind of a dud for me.
Oh, big time.
Regardless of, like, you know, being like, oh,
like, it's setting up things.
Set up a thing and like, oh yeah, Lois is whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is kind of a dud. I'm still gonna, like, at least I want to check out what happens for a little bit longer. See if, like, after this whole, like, ridiculous kickoff, if, like, Bendis takes a step back and goes, okay, let me try not to do all the things.
Right.
And just focus on doing a couple of the things.
Right. Also, don't forget the last page reveal, which is the Superman's the Secret Arsonist.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Which, by the way, Bendis likes to do this. Either, because every last page of every book has to have a big surprise reveal thing. It has to be either...
Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah, that it's John from the future that's trying to tell his dad not to let him go. That's Tiffany's theory. My theory is that it's... Like, here's the thing. It could be that. It could be Superman is doing it, like, in his sleep, and he's just stressed. Because, like, Bendis is a hack.
I kind of feel like Batman might piece that one together.
Yeah.
But that's just me. He's only the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, but, you know, it's Bendis, so, you know.
All right.
And the other theory is just that, like, it's not.
Right.
Like, that it's not, it's just, and we just, like, we needed a last page reveal.
That kid's a liar.
Right. Or the kid was mistaken. Like, we literally just, there's a moment in Ultimate Spider-Man where Nick Fury's talking to Peter Parker, and he says, your father may have just started World War III.
Yeah.
His dead father. And the last page is Peter Parker or Spider-Man, like, looking at him going, like, ooh! And the next page, the next issue is him being like, no, not really. And there's a lot of those. Where it's like, oh my god, this may just very well be the worst thing you've ever heard in the world. What is it? Next issue. I accidentally got tuna salad instead of egg salad. I'm sorry. I know you don't like tuna.
So, overall, I gotta say I don't recommend this.
No, don't pick up Man of Steel.
You can figure out what's going on from it if you want to keep checking. If you want to check out Bendis' Superman, I would do so after this.
Superman #1 comes out next week. Check it out.
Give that a shot instead. If you're with us right now, you know what happened. We told you what was going on. You got the gist. I would just give that a try.
Yeah.
I really am hoping that he'll be more focused.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'd be really cool if, like, he left and then somebody just, like, killed Rogolzar off panel. Like Peter J. Tomasi, for example.
Right.
The Red Samurai. Wouldn't it be funny if Bendis' Walmart Batman and Tom King's Walmart Superman turned out to be amazing? Also, Tiffany's theories are always right, and it's a little scary.
They're not always right. They're really not. Every once in a while, it's like throwing a dart at the dartboard.
Sometimes.
You gotta hit something.
By the way, those Walmart books, good luck finding them, because we can't.
Hard time. At least at ours. I don't know.
Yeah, they're supposed to be in the section where the old DC Direct comics are.
But those are still there.
Those are still there, and the books are gone.
So, all right.
So yeah, that was Man of Steel number 6.
Man of Steel number 6.
Don't recommend it.
So next up on the docket, we're going to talk about Justice League number 3. This was a big week for Tiffany and variants.
Yes, it was. Well, it was a big week for DC and variants.
Yeah, well, I really like these like textless covers that like both companies have been doing. Image was doing it a little earlier.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's almost like everyone wants that.
I really like it, and like
especially for your phone. Like, because you release them on, like, digitally, and then you can make them your background.
Yeah, and this is lovely, and, like, it was right next to the one that had the title on it, but, like, I love Hawkgirl. I love this outfit, or this costume. I love this look, even if she has the metal wings. It's still, I like them. I like them a lot.
Totally.
It's very cool. So I had to get this. And, yeah, this one, I thought this was just okay.
I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. It was actually, I was surprised, because, like, listen... You know, Scott Snyder and I have a rocky relationship, but and I was kind of like, okay, total justice or no justice was no fun,
right.
But and I wasn't really feeling the first 2 issues, but I was a little bit better off on the second issue because Jorge Jimenez started drawing it,
right,
and he continues to draw it in this book, and it's okay. By the way, every issue of Justice League is going to feature an intro story about a member of the Legion of Doom,
right.
So this one is Sinestro contextualizing the discovery and subsequent like interest in or control of the ultraviolet spectrum. That the idea is that Sinestro was looking for it right before he became a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And then he got a little distracted being Sinestro.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. Yeah, I like the idea of him being an archaeologist, like an Indiana Jones kind of character.
It's cool.
Yeah, that's neat. Like, whatever.
Yeah, but it's like it's 2 stories, right? It's like Justice League versus Jon Stewart.
Yeah, in a sense. Well, it's more or less like Jon Stewart and the gang versus the Ultraviolet Corps, or like, you know, Spectrum, I guess. And but they fight Jon, who's been like overtaken by the Ultraviolet like power because instead of you controlling it, it controls you.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I mean, like, sure,
fine.
That's fine. So they have a super cool fight, and Cyborg shows up.
Yep, and you're like, oh yeah, Cyborg.
Yeah, well, cause he like takes out Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Flash, who's having his own problems anyway. Yeah. And then Cyborg shows up and like essentially like disrupts the connection he has to the ultraviolet spectrum.
Exactly. Mr. Roboto, seriously, what's wrong with Connor Kent? He sold? Oh, he's not in the book. There's no Connor Kent for a while, but there will be probably soon. Yep, Connor Kent is Superman's clone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Superboy.
Yeah.
And they got rid of him, and then they did him wrong in the New 52, and now the rebirths happen. They just kind of don't want to talk about it.
I bet someone like Bendis will know about that.
Yeah, be like, oh yeah, you guys want that? Ooh.
Yeah. So you could see, who knows when, but like someone will remember and bring him back.
Yeah.
Possibly the next. No, because Tom King's doing the next Crisis.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Heroes in Crisis.
Anyway,
look out for that.
So we've got that fight going on, which is then taken care of, and like they start explaining what happened, and like John's like, it's not me, it's this whole thing, and like they get into that some more. But while that's all going on, in the totality, we got
4 fights or whatever.
Yeah, we got Martian Manhunter, and we got Jean.
Yep.
And Superman.
Mm-hmm. Fighting lizard chickens.
I like to call him Jean. You know, we're close.
Yeah, you guys are buddies.
We're pals.
Mm-hmm.
Not pals. And they're fighting lizards and vultures and whatever, because like they're mutated into and like he calls it like devolving in a sense.
Yes, or more volving.
I don't know. They're doing everything.
Yeah.
But their armor has broken off due to all the fighting and just the totality itself.
So it's
now,
gonna start affecting them.
Well, just they're like Superman's like, I could start to feel it at the molecular level. And I'm like, that's creepy.
Oh.
I'm like,
I don't want to do that.
Because like Superman, I believe that you can actually feel that. Anyone else would be like, that might be paranoia, and it probably is happening, but you can't really feel it. But Superman probably can. He's just like, no, I do.
He can see things happening on you.
He's like, I feel things like that happening all the time. I'm like,
oh, cool.
Creepy.
Well, don't think about it.
But so like the last line of defense, of course, is Batman in Superman's body and Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter's body.
Yeah, and they're shooting the like infectious totality spores that are alive and attacking them within
and
their
it's
body.
funny because like at one point, like they, Hawkgirl's like, I'm being attacked. Like they're actively seeking me out and not taking care of what they should be taking care of. And Batman's like, I don't believe that. She's like, I've seen enough battles. I know what it looks like when you're ambushed. You have to trust me on this. And so he tells her to use...
activate the EMP from the Matrix.
I was going to say, he tells her to activate the white dwarf pulse, which looks exactly like the thing that they use in the Matrix. And those little things remind you of like those...
Of those things, yep.
So, like, it's funny because, like, she's like, it'll kill off brain cells. And he's like, he can grow the back. It's Martian Manhunter. He's
right, exactly.
Like, so all of a sudden, like...
Oh, we're gonna start, like, playing fast and loose with Martian Manhunter's brain?
Right, all of a sudden, like, Jean can't remember, like, the code to, like, his locker.
Yeah, exactly. He forgets about Chacos all over again.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably for the best.
Yeah. Taylor Petcher, is this issue as wordy as the previous two? Yeah, of course. It's written by Scott Snyder.
This one's pretty wordy, and there's definitely, like, a history lesson in here, especially talking, like...
Oh, now that we have an archaeologist on the team, it's like, it's open season.
Yeah.
So...
But there's a lot of action interspliced with it. So
Wargame in his books, doesn't matter how many words there are, it's always going to look great.
Yeah, but I was going to say, like, I think they do a decent job of, like, intersplicing it so you don't feel like you're going through a slog of, like, a certain page.
There are some books that are drawn for Snyder where it's just walls of text.
Yeah.
And sometimes just fun to read. And this is one of those.
Yeah.
But it implies the idea that, like, Jon Stewart was easily possessed by the ultraviolet spectrum because of a really bad time he had.
Well, no, because he sought it out originally.
Oh, that's right. Because of cosmic whatever the hell.
Well, because he wanted to bring back Xanshi.
Yes.
Which, he blames himself for its destruction. And so he initially had sought out the ultraviolet spectrum because he felt he could bring them back. And like instead he found the diary of Sinestro. Journal?
Right.
Whatever.
No, it's a diary.
I don't know what
There's a little key.
It's pink.
Hal Jordan, don't read.
Hal Jordan
diary.
Keep out.
Yeah. Gantha, don't look.
That's
it. I was trying to think of the book that I was reading. I was like, okay, so I was rereading an old book for back issues the other day, and it was Jim Starlin's Cosmic Odyssey.
Yes.
And I was like, this is really cool. I forgot how awesome this was. Maybe we'll do this. And then I pick up this issue, and the friggin' book references Cosmic Odyssey, and I'm like, hey!
Right? That's kind of cool. So John realized that, like, Sinestro had been trying to keep it from being discovered.
Yes.
And that there was a, like, dark planet called Umbrax that
which sounds like a great name for a villain. It'll probably pop up.
Right. Which, well, it's kind of like a sentient planet.
Yeah.
Which I assume they're hinting at, or Snyder's hinting at, its release when they were trying to stop the trees. Remember they released all the things from
the entropy?
No, from the
Source Wall?
No, from Brainiac's planet.
Oh, Kalu.
Yeah, remember they released all the planets from there. So I assume we're hinting at the fact that was one of the planets that was released, and therefore that's why Lex told Sinestro to go.
Right.
And, like, get the ultraviolet spectrum, and he had intended on going there and being like, I'm going to put a stop to it, and instead realized it was kind of too late, so he just kind of went with the flow.
Right.
And, so, like, inevitably, like, Sinestro shows up and tells, like, John that he's just like, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Because, like, Umbrax is coming, and like, the last page reveal of that storyline is that Umbrax is already here.
Yes.
And it's, like, looking for the Earth.
Yeah.
And it's gigantic, and that, like, the Earth's kind of already part of its
solar system
core,
kind of thing. Yeah.
And, like, this could be the most powerful, largest core that we've ever seen before.
Yes.
Not to rhyme, I apologize.
That's fine.
For that.
But we also find out that Joker's in Hawkgirl's ship.
Yeah, and that's, like, so Lex is in his own ship following Batman. And Joker's physically in the ship with Hawkgirl, and he's waiting his turn. He has, like, a chainsaw.
Because he was going to cut her wings off.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, wow, could you pick a more clunky thing?
Of course, it's funny.
It's funny.
It's a stealth mission.
Haha.
Get it? Which Joker do you think it is?
Also, Jean find, or Jean and Cal find a source wall looking thing, and again we see Hawkgirl being like, those faces look familiar.
Yes.
And like for a second I was like, is it them?
Yeah.
Is it like weird versions of them?
Like,
they don't really show
it's hard
you.
to see.
Like,
They're
it's
kinda
really
big.
difficult to see because they don't really show you very much. And he communicates with it telepathically, and he sees something that he doesn't want to see.
Right.
And then they're going to like destroy them. And like Lex is like, yes,
Yeah.
do it. Mentally communicate with it. This is all part of my scheme.
That's right.
He's scheming.
No, I'm a schemer again. Remember me?
Right, so there's like all kinds of things going on. We have Wonder Woman and Flash and Aquaman investigating the Still Force, because like that's part of the whole ultraviolet spectrum thing. So they're investigating that.
Do you get it? There's inverted evil characters. We're doing an inverted crime syndicate thing.
Yes, but they also find the White Martians down there.
Cool.
Which are still alive.
So, evil Jean and evil Batman's gonna come. It's gonna be evil versions of everybody again.
We'll see where it goes. Like I said, this one was fine. Just another issue
Evil
of
Lanterns.
setup.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm still on board.
Oh yeah,
like,
no.
First of all, the book's gorgeous to look at. Like,
yep.
this is
easy
like
to look at.
So like lovely.
Super fun.
Yeah, colors are great. Everyone's drawn really well. Just very nice overall. I'm telling you, I love this cover.
But
I love these Jim Lee variants they've been doing lately.
I know they're great.
Just tether Jim Lee to a desk and make him draw variant covers.
But
all day long.
everything's really coalescing for Justice League. So
I think
if you were worried about it, I'd try issue 3. If you weren't on board yet, you're not gonna be.
No, I think like if you dive in issue 3, I think you're gonna be a little confused.
Oh no, I just mean like if you read 1 and 2 and you're like, I don't know, try one more and then make your decision. Mr. Roboto, Justice League movie went really dark. Why no Spectre movie? Probably because like half the population doesn't know who Spectre is. And,
that would be. I think they could either do like direct to
DVD
Blu-ray
or digital
kind of thing,
or something like that,
or maybe start investigating your own like Netflix style shows.
Well, they have the DC Universe thing. Just put it on that.
Yeah.
They got the Swamp Thing show, Titans, all the
There
crap.
you go. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. So
Give it
listen,
a
never
shot.
say never. There's always an opportunity for them.
Absolutely.
Plus, like maybe like Titans, that Teen Titans Go cartoon movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of testing the waters about like what you're gonna expect to see in terms of like DC movies, because it references every character in the DC pantheon, and they all have like their own little movies in them and stuff. So, if this movie does well, and if like there's a lot of buzz about other characters, you'll see. You'll see it sooner than later.
All right, so we got one more book before we do
Batman 50.
the thing everyone came for.
Yes.
But really quickly, I'm just going to talk about the fact that Doctor Strange, number
393?
whatever, but part 3 of Mark Waid's run. So if you're on the Mark Waid train right now, this is the 3rd one in Mark Waid's little run, and it's a tie-in.
Oh, damn it. It's always a tie-in with Doctor Strange. I don't get it.
Well, this one they had to because it's tied into Infinity Wars.
Ooh, okay, that's fun.
And so naturally, because of the movies, and them suddenly being Infinity Stones.
Yep, and the stones being different colors than they were before to match the ones in the movie.
Guess which one's in this one?
The Time Stone.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
This Waid does a nice job framing this tie-in to make it work.
Yeah.
Like, he honestly does a decent job.
He's trying. He's like, well, he's not a hack.
He's
he
doing
knows
the best that he can with this, and he actually, like... So, here's the thing, guys. I know you've heard me, like, not being, like, so super excited for this, and it's not that I'm not super excited for, like, the Kate's run or the Waid run because of their writing ability. It's just because it felt like we were either too quickly reestablishing the status quo, and now we've kind of backpedaled. Like, it's just from a person who's been reading... since Aaron started this whole thing, a couple years ago. Like, I've been on this train this whole time, and now I'm like, it's like you're not talking to each other.
Right, exactly.
So it has nothing to do with writing skills or anything like that. But, like, for me, this one did a really nice job of taking a tie-in, making it work, and actually giving you a fun character moment for Strange.
Yes.
Like,
and apparently...
a really lovely character moment, which was, like, rough to see.
Oh.
But, like, it really... shows that Waid understands the sort of responsibility that Doctor Strange should have to the universe at large.
Cool. Okay.
So as we know, Strange is on an odyssey with Kana to the arcanologist alien chick like relearn magic, basically. And we see like a little fun...
Is he relearning magic? I thought he was just collecting magical artifacts to like steal magic.
Both. Because he's also, like, they cover that in this, like, fun montage in the beginning where it's, like, them thieving things and him learning from, like, other, like, magicians on other planets and, like, trying new things. I do this because this is literally, like, one of the moves that they're doing at one point.
The mystical wax on, wax off.
Exactly. Look, he's got to go find Pat Morita. It'd be totally cool.
That'd be cool.
And, like, so, that's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It's cool, but, like,
Is he keeping any of it, or is it like once he uses it, it's gone again?
No, he seems to be getting it back here.
Okay, cool.
Because definitely by the end of it, it's like something is like maybe I don't know.
All right.
But this is where I'm. It's like, but he just got it all back, and now so whatever. But that aside, if I'm just reading this and I don't know anything about that part,
by the way, one tie-in. This is it, and then it's going back to normal.
And that's fine. I'm totally cool.
Is it even a tie-in then?
It is.
Okay, because I was gonna say or is it just part of the universe?
It is and it isn't. No, this is like they put it on the front of the cover, the whole thing. They're like tie into Infinity Wars, blah. I mean, like it's just funny because it's like it just happened to work.
I know.
It just happened to work. Like, okay, fine, this works. So anyway, Khan is talking to Strange as they're like fixing the ship and stuff like that, and like how he's just like, I told you we'd become friends, and isn't that fun? And she's like, yeah, I mean, fine, whatever, yeah, we're friends, who cares? Right. But he asks her about her own background, and she alludes to something like
sinister, or
not even sinister or dark, sad, whatever, and like doesn't get into it. And instead says like, oh man, I have like a boyfriend, or I had an ex-boyfriend, and like his uncle was like a powerful wizard, and we should go to the planet and like you can learn from him. And she's like, cool. Or he says that's fine. And she's like, have you ever been to Tarnax too? And he's like, no, but like whatever. And then she mentions that like her ex-boyfriend's uncle is a Skrull sorcerer. And Strange is like, Skrulls?
Yeah, and Skrulls?
Well, we can't be here. I don't know if you know this, but humans and Skrulls don't mix.
Yeah.
I can't be here. We have to go.
Right.
And she's like, no, but he's cool, and like he knows that you're coming.
He's solid and he's cool.
Don't worry, like he owes me, and like we're friends, and like he's not like the other ones, and it's totally gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's totally gonna be fine. And he's just like, she's like, have you ever met a Skrull? And
he's like, yeah, they tried to take over my planet a couple times.
Yeah, but he's just like, you know. He starts to question, and this is kind of where I feel like Wade kind of shines in the narration, because the narration for me so far has been like meh.
Oh yeah, where it's like the sorcerer didn't believe the pretty lady.
But in this one, it's more or less like Strange wondering what it's like to be a shape changer and have individuality, and like, do you actually have anything like that? And then he alludes to like the one, like to a Skrull who had like potentially the most individuality, but he had never actually met on his planet, and like he's like, even that one, I don't even know. Is it possible that, you know, they could have individuality? I don't know if you want to...
Oh, yeah, Mr. Roboto, with Steve Ditko gone, does that mean new stories? No. Steve Ditko didn't have, like, any control or, like, stake in the creations he made. He got credit, and I think he got, like, a percentage maybe, but for the most part, no, he wasn't, like, sitting on anything or protecting anything.
No, I do wonder, though, if we will see an homage book come out.
It'd be nice.
You know, like a little, like, just... Like...
From both companies, because they both produce different...
Oh, certainly. But, like, for Marvel, you could probably, like, they could pull some Spider-Man writers together, some Strange writers together, and, like...
They could re-release the Dusty Death book by Neil Vokes.
There you go. But you know what I mean? Like, so I'm kind of holding my breath for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I like when they do, like, those, like, 1, 2, 3, like, page... little stories, little vignettes, essentially.
I think the best thing you'll get is a variant cover.
Probably. So anyway, so they go to the planet, and the whole planet is just, like, shape changers.
What?
Like, the flora, the fauna, all of it is constantly, like, changing, and Strange is like, this is not okay. I really shouldn't be here. And he's like, if at any point I feel threatened, we're getting out of here. She's like, fine, fair enough. Totally fine.
Okay.
So they walk past, like, or she puts, like, illusion enchantments on them with, like, her... like arcanologist tech magic stuff. Okay. So they're walking through, and like they see all these Skrulls, and they're kind of cool. It's like these Skrulls just doing different things in different forms, but like looking like themselves in a way. Like, so there's like a Skrull centaur, and like a person with like big stilt arms. Like, it's something. So
they're just happy.
Yeah, it's just something
nice
for Jesus says to draw and have
That's
fun
cool.
with it.
Skrulls are normally a warlike race that like have like
but we're gonna
that don't know peace and quiet.
Oh yeah,
so
but
it's kind of nice.
We're gonna get there. We run into the uncle, and like Strange is like, wow, I never thought to like allow myself to have multi arms and like combine enchantments in that way.
Oh.
And so he's like watching him do this stuff. He's like, that's cool. And he's like, what the hell's that big green rock that he's like got floating out there? And he's like, oh crap. Mm-hmm. It's the Time Stone.
Right.
Time Gem.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, Mark Waid does something where he, like, puts Time Stone in, like, quotes. It's funny.
Where he's like, yeah, stones, sure.
Right? And so he immediately thinks of Thanos. He's like, we have to get that and get the hell out of here. And that's about the time another Skrull shows up and is, like, giving the uncle a hard time, being like, have you unlocked the secrets? We have to use it. Like, it's got too much power. Like, I want to be able to go back in time and, like, change a bunch of stuff. Come on. And, like, Strange is like, he doesn't understand the power he has right there to be able to just do certain things. And he doesn't quite get it. So, like, Kana's like, I really want that, but, like, I'm not getting involved with an Infinity Gem. I'm just not going to do it. So, like, Strange is like, here's the thing, I'll make a deal with you. You can have that, it will be 100% yours. They do a 50-50 split usually. It'll be 100% yours. No strings attached. You can have it, but we have to get it off of this planet.
Right.
And she's like, all right. And, like, they start going through the arsenal that they have, and it's just like, all right, we got a couple of these, I got a couple of those. Like, it's very much like, you know, just like, all right, I got, like, 3 grenades.
Oh, yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. Like, how can we cobble together, like, an attack on a planet of Skrulls?
Yeah.
And she's like, she even has, like, a little, like, paw thing. She's like, it's like a... You know, it's like a forgetful thing.
Oh, like a monkey's paw?
Yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it makes you
fun.
forget. And she's like, this is, all right, no. And, like, she looks up and he's gone. Because he just ran in. And, like, immediately it was like, use the, like, element of surprise. He hits the uncle, grabs the time stone. And then the Skrull reveals himself to be the one and only Super Skrull.
Oh, yay!
So, and like, later on, Strange is like, yeah, we refer to him as humans would the Super Skrull, so...
Yeah, because he's got superpowers.
So, you know, whatever. So he starts doing his thing, and, like, he's on fire, and he's rocky, and he's doing the whole thing. And Strange ends up utilizing the time stone to make him think he's in one place, and then he jumps through time a whole bunch of times and, like, attacks him all at once.
Okay.
And wins against him, and then, like, is all, like, depleted, and they take the stone, and they leave.
Okay.
And they get on the ship, and he's like, okay, we're going to take this, and we're going to put this in this
Right,
little...
Super Skrull had the gem, or the stone in Infinity, whatever the
There
hell,
you go. So he has this little box. He's like, we're going to put the stone in here, and, like, not even I can open it. We're just going to keep it there, and, like, that's going to be it. And she's like, you said I could have it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I know I did, and I really hate that I have to do this. And then he uses the paw thing of forgetfulness on her. So he's just like, I'm sorry. And, like, so when she's like, hey, what's up? And he's just like, oh, no, we were talking about going blah, 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 blah. And she says, like, you know, like, he's like, what do you think? And she's just like, sure, like, I trust you. And, like, he has, like, and, like, one of the last panels is just him looking at her like,
I'm
like,
such a jackass.
but, like, I have to do it. Because,
I have no friends in this universe left.
Yeah, and, like, so for me, I was just like, okay, this was, like, a, like, insight into, like, Wade's understanding of the character and where he might be taking him. So, I don't know, overall as a tie-in to something, this is one of the better handled tie-ins because it didn't divert us from the main story.
Yeah.
And it actually works in the main story. So we'll see what happens with this time stone, because inevitably that's going to have to come back around, even if it doesn't happen in this book.
Story, yeah.
It's fine.
Right. All right, cool.
So there you go.
Well, the art looks good.
Right? Yeah. Like, Jesus Saiz is doing a really nice job.
Yay.
It was kind of, like, weird at first, but I'm, like, really starting to dig it now.
Cool.
So.
Awesome.
Let's see how it goes.
Nice.
So that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, see you guys next time. Now, we're going to talk about this. This is Batman number 50, written by Tom King and drawn by everybody. This has been a long time coming. It's an extra-sized anniversary issue for only $5. You could jump into the wedding of the century. It's Batman and Selina Kyle finally tying the knot, getting together, and making things happen in a big old anniversary book that has a whole bunch of really cool art in it. And boy, does it ever. It's got a lot of great art. It makes Mikhail Yanin look like a chump when he actually has to draw a couple pages because woof.
Yeah.
Compared to all these other amazing artists, it's like, oh, right, you're tracing a lot of crap. Let's talk about some of the awesome art in this book.
Yeah, let's start there. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
This book is cool because it's got a lot of really great art in it.
Yeah, I like the Lee Weeks, the Capullo, the Jim Lee.
The Finch is just a reboot, is just a reuse of the other one. I like the Fabric page.
I kind of like the Miller page.
The Miller page blew my mind, and here's why. Okay, so the whole thing is it's 2 notes. You know, like in weddings, we didn't do it, but in weddings, like the bride and the groom write each other notes, and they give them to each other, and then you read them before they get married.
Yeah.
Batman and Catwoman do the same thing, and the notes are the narration, and they parallel each other, and it's about eyes. They thought they were a common blah or just a simple blah until they saw each other's eyes, and then they knew that they loved them forever. And then King forgets his own continuity because apparently they were friends. She's been breaking into Wayne Manor since he got back, so whatever. But anyway, so they're talking about eyes and who gives a shit. But there's this great moment which he brings back from his beginning of King's run on the series, which is that Batman remembers their first meeting being the pre-crisis 1943 origin or whatever, where they meet on a boat, and she remembers the pre-New 52 post-crisis Frank Miller Year 1 origin,
right,
where she was a prostitute. And by the way, it's also paralleled within the page they got Frank Miller to draw. So I thought that was a really cool moment to get like Frank Miller's story paralleled with Frank Miller's art.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, like, it's actually some of the best Batman I've seen from him
in a while,
in a long time,
in a very long time. I agree.
It's still got his like current Millerisms, like for example, he's bald and like his cowl's weird.
Yeah.
But you pointed out their proportions.
Yeah, the proportions are phenomenal. It's Dark Knight proportions, which is like bizarre, but like I appreciate that, and like the Catwoman costume isn't bad. Like overall, like
it's a straight up like it's the Long Halloween costume.
Yeah, it's so like I was pretty cool with this.
Yeah,
like, I really kind of enjoyed it,
and I really dug the Jason Fabok one. This is this one.
Oh yeah, it's
where
fun.
He's wearing the old pre 52 post crisis trunks Batman suit. Get used to that look, by the way, because I know you're going to see it when Detective Comics turns 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
You know they're going to bring those trunks back.
I might.
Mr. Roboto, spoilers, it's not Catwoman, it's Clayface Woman. Lol. Yeah, I mean, like, that'd be funny. That'd be a crazy twist.
Right.
So, you get a whole bunch of beautiful full-page images from, like, some of the top talent who have drawn Batman in the past.
Right.
And throughout it, you also have the story, which I think there's like 5 pages of it.
No, there's more than that, but like, here's the story. Batman and Catwoman are fighting Kite Man.
Lol, hell yeah!
And Batman's like, why don't we just get married right now?
Right. And she's like, no, I have to put it off. Because then they'd stop reading the book.
And she's like, sure, why not? Let's just do it. Like,
right.
What do we need? Like, oh, we both need a witness, and we need a judge, and like, he'll go take care of the judge. She'll get her witness.
Yes, so Batman uncharacteristically finds a wino judge, gets him all liquored up, and then convinces him to sign documents. And we spent like a good 40 minutes at home with the entire ComicPOP team talking about how that would never work. I'm not going to waste time now.
No, but
like, how like it would never...
Here's the thing.
It's not even close to never working, and I know it's a comic book, so like nothing works. It's not like Batman could ever exist, blah, blah, blah. But like... the idea that Batman would get a judge, and the judge would file actual paperwork, and that it would be somehow sealed, and that no one would know. No,
you have to have a license. Like, you have to have a license before you get married. And, like, once you have that license, technically you're married, really. I mean, except I think you have to do, like, the one final thing where, like, the officiant signs it off. But, like, you're pretty much all the way there.
Yeah.
You gotta have that paperwork. Otherwise, you could just have anybody do it and it wouldn't matter because it's not really
well, because otherwise,
binding.
Who gives a shit? Because, like, at the end, like, because even if it doesn't work out, even if it doesn't happen, you could pretend like it didn't happen anyway. Because there's no, like, stakes. Tyler Brusso, Fabok's was my favorite. You like this in isolation. Yeah. I like the page on its own.
Yeah.
I think it was cool.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So yeah, Batman gets the judge in an uncharacteristic and stupid way. Catwoman, however, picks up the witness, which is of course going to be Holly.
Yeah, Holly Robinson.
Who is so important that she was just a one-off character that Frank Miller created, but now she's really important, and she was important before. I get that, but like she's really important now because she's the linchpin of the whole thing.
Yep.
Silvery Cricket. I'm a fan of King's Batman. I will go to bat for it all the time. This issue was really bad, though. It felt like 5 pages and a bunch of variant covers. That's exactly what it was.
Yep.
So yeah, Catwoman breaks Holly out so that she can be there for her.
Oh,
so,
he meant sorry. Do you like 50 in isolation?
Oh, no,
I don't.
It's a bunch of cool images though.
It is.
Great. They make great phone backgrounds and posters.
Sure. So yeah, Catwoman breaks out Holly and
then they fight Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Because, like, Tom King wants to prove that he's read a couple Batman comics. Right,
so they do that, and the letters continue. And we'll talk about the letters in a minute. So Catwoman takes Holly back to Wayne Manor, where they talk about the fact that they've always known it's Batman, but, like, she can't show her how to get up through the Batcave into the house. So, like...
even though all she has to do is Google where Bruce Wayne lives.
Well, yeah, but, like, she doesn't know the Batcave's down there.
Right, but she does. Because they took her upstairs.
Wow, maybe she's not paying attention. Maybe she spun around in a circle.
She's clearly like a criminal mastermind.
So, meanwhile, Alfred makes Batman a sandwich, and then...
Yep.
And then, like, they talk about the location of their marriage, which would be on the rooftops.
Where they met.
It has to always be the rooftops.
That's their place.
And then Selena gets ready. She puts on the wedding dress.
Yep.
That we all saw the images of, and how striking and all that. And,
yes. And
then something kind of nice happens in the book.
There's actually 2 great pages besides the variant covers that are actual pages in the book. There's 2 brilliant pages that prove that Tom King actually is a good writer, because not only is Vision a comic, but there's also a number of other books he's written. But he apparently somehow, some way, remembers that Alfred's a character and integrally involved in the Bat mythos. Something that everybody seems to forget. It's really frustrating, but for 2 shining examples, we get some really great Alfred action.
Yeah, and what happens is it's Alfred's getting Bruce ready.
Yeah.
He's putting on his little, morning coat kind of, thing, I guess because they're getting married in the morning, so he's being proper in a sense, or whatever. And, Bruce is, fidgeting around in it, and, Alfred kind of makes fun of him for wearing a leather bat suit.
He's like, how will I be able to move in this thing? And he's like, you move around. And
yeah, in, this, molded leather bat suit every night.
Yeah, you'll find a way.
You'll be fine. And then Bruce looks at himself, and he's just like, I don't know, I look like my father.
Right, he's trying to say,
this isn't me.
This isn't me. And it's just it's a beautiful moment where he absently says he looks like his father, and Alfred's like, you most certainly do.
Yeah, and he's sitting there with so much pride on his face.
Yeah,
and it's a nice moment.
Yep,
that's a nice thing.
What a beautiful moment. It's a moment that Alfred never thought he'd ever see. It's a moment that's just so incredibly emotional and raw and real, and it's just sweet.
And then they do their first look.
And who cares? Silvery Cricket, he gets the judge from Porky's from the Elmer Fudd crossover, which apparently makes that entire story canon now.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
There's no way it wasn't canon.
I noticed
Tom
that
King wrote
too.
it, and everyone loved it. It was everyone's favorite Warner Brothers crossover, so
no, I
you know it was going to be canon no matter what.
I saw that. I was like, all right, let's just,
Yeah.
So then, remember that issue of X-Men Gold?
Yes.
Number 30 that came out, where magic ruined Kitty's wedding by laying the seeds of doubt, and that was enough for them to not get married.
Yes.
So in this book, Catwoman is talking to Holly, and she's like, that's not what I thought he'd be like, always happy, that kind of thing, and I always thought that when he was happy, he wouldn't be able to do what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And Catwoman's like, what?
Yeah.
And apparently, that's kind of all she needed.
Right.
There's one other thing that she does.
Yeah.
And then we have the other nice moment between Batman and Alfred, in which Alfred's like, "Oh, you need your witness. Do you want me to call Master Dick or Master Clark?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Batman's just looking at his phone. He's not even thinking about it. And he's just like, "No, it's gonna be you.
Because it has to be you.
It's always been you.
It's always been you. I couldn't do anything without you."
Yeah. And Alfred's like,
"Yeah." Alfred's like, "What?"
Yeah, and they hug.
And that's just incredible.
It's adorable.
Someone actually saying friggin' thank you to Alfred.
Right.
And acknowledging that Alfred is the linchpin to everything.
Yep.
So that was another. It's actually kind of amazing how the Batman stuff is great.
Yeah.
And the Catwoman stuff is hacky and crap.
It's terrible. And the Batman stuff is okay.
Look at how evil and sinister they drew Holly. In this page,
yeah. No.
I've got plans. You're like, what?
I know.
The prepubescent whore from year one is now a thing.
It's a thing.
And by the way, she was a thing. I know they put her in.
But
And there was a whole thing we had to fight Talia al Ghul. And anyway, so
basically, Holly's driving Selena to their rooftop.
Yep.
And Selena questions if she's a hero and what it means to be a hero, sacrificing for things and such. And that's her putting together what she feels like she has to do, and Holly's basically like,
yeah, no, you are.
Totally.
Yeah. Heroes make sacrifices.
Yeah, you should totally do that. And
wink.
Meanwhile, Bruce and Alfred are in the car together, and he's like, can I be happy, Alfred? And he's like, you're gonna have to be. And
right.
And Bruce is like,
Yeah.
All right. Well, why not? So then at the end of the day, Selena's on a different rooftop.
Yes.
She's not on their rooftop.
No, she's on Kane Plaza.
Yep. And Batman or Bruce is waiting for her, and Alfred tries to be well, maybe we should wait another hour.
Yeah.
And or perhaps something
might have happened. Yes,
exactly. And Bruce is like, nope, she's not coming, and they both leap off the building.
Yeah.
And and then it's revealed that
beneath Arkham Asylum,
yeah,
Bane has been gathering forces to defeat Batman,
forces,
to break him.
Like the Riddler and a Joker, and I think that's a
Psycho-Pirate
back there, and the ventriloquist, and Holly, and
Hugo Strange. Well, he was technically Doctor Strange.
I know, Hugo Strange. Gotham Girl.
Yeah, classic Gotham Girl. What?
And Batman.
Wait, Batman, you say? But Batman's in the book. What? Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's not Batman. That's... No. That's Tom Wayne Batman.
That's right. So...
That's Flashpoint Batman. The Batman who told him not to be Batman anymore. Yeah, now he works for Bane.
So,
What?
Yep.
I'm surprised Dr. Manhattan's not here.
So that happened. So reasons I'm not a fan of this book.
Yeah.
That ending... You made such a big deal about this wedding.
And that's the thing.
You had the invitations. You made it so that you're going to find... You're like, no, they can totally get married. It's like, I don't see how they can actually get married on paper, but you're going to show me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
The letters themselves, like, you could have done something really interesting with these. If you needed them to not get married.
Yes.
And, like, throughout the entire book.
Which you don't need to not get them married, but...
Right, but, like, let's just say you desperately need them to have them not get married.
Yeah.
Right? Do it in a poetic way.
Right.
So, like, in this, they talk about their eyes. And, like, how she thought his eyes were blue and they were heroic. And he thought her eyes were this green color, and in the green, there was the war going on between the blue and the yellow. And if the blue is the heroic, then the yellow is her more villainous side, right? So why not, instead of it being that Holly lays the seeds of, like, her ruining him being a hero, lay the seeds of, like, because when they show up, like, when she shows up at the house, she's like, man, Selena, this is all going to be yours.
Right.
Like, nothing, like, is going to be your own life anymore. You're going to be in a life with someone else now. You're going to have to share everything. And you're going to have to, like, think about what he wants to do. And it won't be just about you anymore. Which is, like, that could appeal to that part of her that has lived her life like that. Like, create that kind of doubt.
Yeah.
Like, allow it to be in her nature. You know what I mean? And so when she overcomes that, it's her, like her love actually overcoming it if they inevitably get married,
right?
Or they don't,
which is the plan according to everybody. All the time. King apologists are like, well, no, I mean they're obviously going to get married, but we wanted to really screw over people who like the speculators market and also anyone who might have been like just interested in what's going on. You know, like we got the midnight premieres, we got the variant covers, we've got the like 2 years worth of build up. You have all the don't forget the like New York Times spoilers and whatnot. Like you have all this like stuff around it. You've lost your good faith with the readers in terms of like, oh no, this is all a smokescreen. I thought it'd be hilarious just do all this build and then have it not happen, but then like 20 to 50 issues later it does happen. Like, right? No one's gonna. I mean, like people are gonna go because people are desperate to buy things that they hate. And, like, so the reality is, regardless of the fact that, like, okay, you can't do another midnight release of Batman 100 where the real wedding's going to happen. Because you look like a complete asshole.
Yeah, no,
that's the problem.
Like,
you can do it, but you look like a complete asshole for doing it.
Also, there's, like, this plan. Their plan really bothers me. Their wedding plan, regardless of their eloping plan.
all the stuff
but the
around
wedding
it.
plan, I'm just like you literally have you have several other avenues where you could take this wedding, right?
Yes.
You're friends with Arthur Curry.
Right. You get married under the sea.
He's the ruler of his own people.
Yeah, you have an Atlantean marriage.
You could do that. You could go to Themyscira.
Right.
Or you just have Wonder Woman
That'd be kind of cool.
oversee it.
Yeah.
Like, you
could do a hand-tying ceremony using the lasso.
Why not? Like, you could have Alfred become a minister.
Right. Or he's already been one.
Or he's been ordained.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are so many different avenues that this could have gone, and because it's almost like the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
Because it was like this plan could have never worked.
No. That's the thing, is that, yeah, if you use your common sense, like, it's like, oh, well, there's no way it could actually happen. And then it's like, when it doesn't happen, people are like, what?
Well, it's more or less like there was so much build. You had, like you said, the tie-ins, the whole thing, like and like the reason for it is just so.
Well, because this is a love letter to himself.
Yeah.
You've been building towards this for 50 issues, and everyone who shows up at the end are characters you've either created or characters that are integral in your story.
Yeah.
And they're all important because of reasons that you've created. You know, like, it's just part of another self-aggrandizing. I mean, the fact that the story opens with Kite Man should say everything, really.
Yeah.
Rusky9110 saying, what makes it worse is that the marriage did work in Earth 2, and Batman knows that, but Tom King doesn't.
Yeah.
Talon134, who would you guys want to replace King on Batman? Chris Priest would be my pick. His Deathstroke Rebirth is amazing. I've heard good things about Chris Priest. I've read his stuff. He's really good. I don't know at this point. But
I don't know what it needs.
Yeah, and I wouldn't presume to know because I'm not an editor at DC. Like, let them pick a good writer. But, like, somebody would want to do the Batmans that I would want to read about.
Yeah.
Taylor Petcher, don't forget, King has 50 more issues. It's all part of the plan, lol. Yeah,
the fact
it's true.
that he keeps yelling about that, like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, like, here's the thing. It's not like if it is, if you have had the story outline for the first 100 issues at issue 1, or even issue 10, or issue 20, then DC should know that already, and they wouldn't have made these kinds of publishing decisions. They wouldn't have made all this hype unless they were like, we're going to lose all our good faith with our readers by making a lot of hype around something that doesn't really matter. Like, let me pitch you an idea here. Let's say that Marvel did this. Let's say that Marvel said in an interview with CBR or an announcement on something. Like, let's say that Marvel said, we're going to get Mary Jane and Peter Parker back together. Okay. They're going to get back together.
Yeah, it's going to
Somebody says that. The remarriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. Because this is called the wedding issue. There's a freaking wedding album coming out in September. Eat shit. Wedding album.
I know.
So you can't say there's no way that people would do that. So they're saying there's a wedding. So let's say that the remarriage is happening. It's going to happen in 2 years, and we're going to build towards it. They do all these stories about it. All these things happen. Maybe like they kind of get back together, but then they break up, and you're like, oh, but issue 50 is coming out, and I know they're getting married in issue 50. And then they do rekindle their relationship, and everything comes together. And there's 16 tie-ins that all have anything to do with. Oh, there's 6 individual tie-ins that have complicated titles that refer to the wedding and are building towards it. There's a huge, confusing moment with Norman Osborn where you're like, did he die at the end of this story? And that's the prelude, right? That's the penultimate issue before they get married. And then there's a special spectacular wedding issue, 16 variant covers, and every single influential Spider-Man artist came in to draw it. And then at the end, they don't get married.
Yeah.
If I pitch that to you, you'd call me a complete asshole.
Yeah.
And you'd cry foul. You wouldn't say, well, hold on a minute. Let's ask with the author what he had planned. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. If I pitched that, if I said that was the plan, you'd call me an asshole. And you say that I was trying to steal your good favor.
And your money.
Like that I was going to trick you into spending your money on something you think is going to happen. And then I'm going to laugh all the way to the bank. And then, 6 issues later, they get married anyway. Like, whoops, like a Trojan did on you. Ha-ha. Like, you would think I was being intentionally deceptive.
Yep.
And that's exactly why people are so pissed at this issue.
Oh, and it's true. And, like you said, they've lost a lot of good faith. On top of all that, you decided to launch a series about Catwoman.
Right.
From this.
Yeah.
What do you think people's reaction to that are going to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you think it's going to sell out? You think it's going to be a huge boon?
Right?
What?
It's just... I don't know.
So the Red Samurai says Jason Aaron and Lee Weeks would replace Tom King. That'd be cool. Lee Weeks did some art in this, and it's awesome.
Maybe.
Carl Analot, or Analo, says, what is Thomas Wayne doing with Bane? Good question. Now, it could be that they needed
ruining Batman's marriage.
Yeah. Because that's the whole thing. Like, now he's broken.
Yeah. I broken his back, but now I broke his spirit.
Yeah. You know, he killed a 13-year-old boy in the desert one time.
Yeah, you know what it is?
And him being sad that a girl doesn't want to marry him.
I know,
sucks.
It does.
But he killed a boy in the desert.
No,
you know what I mean?
I know.
Jason Todd was beaten to death and exploded, and he was Batman that day.
Yeah, I mean? No, I know.
How can he be broken?
Batman has yes, breaking someone breaking your heart. It's
it's different.
It's different. You feel like you can't go on from that, but Batman watched his parents die.
Right. He's watched too many people die.
He's watched a lot of people die.
He's an intricate network of friends.
Yep.
But you know that this is going to factor in heavily to the Heroes in Crisis story.
I guess. Yeah. It's just, there's just... you know, I know that people like will say that we've never been fans of King. There are some things that King has done with Batman that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
There honestly were a couple of things.
Hey, watch our off the rack episode where I was like, hey, this might be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, honestly. And there was part of me that wanted this to really work out.
Yeah.
Like, however it was, like, whichever way it went, because honestly, I wasn't sure what was going to happen with it.
No, I deliberately, like, I heard rumblings, but I didn't know for certain, and I had no idea. Happen,
but I was kind of hoping at least it would be, like, well written, because I like Mr. Miracle.
Right. And Mr. Miracle's an incredible series.
And I enjoyed Vision, you know?
Vision's great, too.
I was like, maybe he's going to really pull out all the stops for this.
Yeah.
And, like, it just fell flat.
Yeah.
So it's like, you not only you didn't deliver on anything, which that's your prerogative, man. That's your prerogative.
Yeah.
But you didn't do it well.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, the biggest crime here.
Yeah. For me, the biggest crime is the deliberate financial deception.
And and of course we could talk at length's end about the whole New York Times thing, and like now
that's a whole other episode.
Was that like intentional? Was that like
we know it was.
Damage control?
Yeah.
I mean, like in that sense.
Oh yeah.
Where like they were like
maybe they're like, oh no.
Like these people aren't like going to be like this is a
they're gonna want want refunds.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Kane's World saying, I'm a fan of Tom King's Batman. I did not like this issue because of how unoriginal the Batman can't be happy and be Batman concept is. And King does know Batman married worked because of annual number 2, which was the story where, like, he's in the future and he's married to Catwoman.
That's right, and that was so sweet.
Yeah. That was actually the one I was like, this is a great issue.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the reasoning behind them not getting married in here doesn't work.
No, and it could be...
You had, this was your plan the whole time. You had 50 issues.
to plan
good reason.
To make it not dumb. The fact that Elmer Fudd's, like, judge or whatever is in this means that there's no way this is planned from issue 1. But that being said, that's the end of the episode. So let's talk about some recommendations books that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up. But before we do, also, if you like us streaming and you like watching this young lady, you should check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ComicPOP TV.
Yeah, you can hang out with me and my too short hair.
Yes, and you can watch Tiffany play video games. It's gonna be bat themed.
It is gonna be bat themed. If you're like, look, if you want to just take it out on Batman,
right? We're gonna put him through the ringer.
This is the girl.
Hey, Catwoman's in there too, so it's gonna be great. But check that out. Anyway, so let's jump into it. So these are some books that are coming out this week that I think you should check out. Obviously, Superman #1 comes out. Don't pick that up. Because
we'll
no.
check it out for you.
I'm trying to remember what the other one was. There was one book from DC that I was like, oh yeah, Flash #50. I'm very excited about Flash War. I've been really enjoying the crap out of it. I think you should definitely check it out if you haven't already, but I know you are because you're probably a DC fan. If you're watching this episode about Batman 50, you're probably reading Flash. Read Flash 50. It's really cool. It's just it's straight up cool. And if you're like an old school DC fan, you're like, what's going on with the Flashes and time and Wally and no justice for Wally and maybe Bart too. Like a lot of cool stuff in there. So Flash 50, I feel like there's gonna be something huge in there.
All right.
And check that out. Flash 50.
That's totally fair. For me, over at Image Comics, you heard me talk about it in I think one of our first episodes of our live streaming Off the Rack. Sola #4 is coming out. If you like fantasy or like Studio Ghibli, but want a comic instead of a manga, I would check that out 100%. This is #4. Just a really beautiful, beautiful book. Like, talk about, like, really fun story. Not sure where it's going yet, but still, like the mystery and the excitement that's going on there. But love the actual look of it. Just so, so lovely.
And it's on issue 4, you said?
On issue 4, this new one's coming out by Brendan Fletcher and Carl Kerschel. Just a lot of fun. Also, over from Marvel, guys, we just talked about Doctor Strange. If you want to get the first issue of that in print, apparently they're going back to print with a variant cover.
Yes.
So you could check that out as well.
True.
So there's a lot coming out this week.
Yes, there is.
It's funny. This is gonna be this is like a weird week because we just came off of
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of I can imagine it kind of being like the first day of school after a long vacation. Yeah. People just trudging into the comic book store like, I just need something to make me feel good. But that said, Amazing Spider-Man #1, technically, whatever the hell, 803.
Yeah, Legacy numbering.
Legacy number 308 or 803 is coming out.
Yeah.
This is of course written by Nick Spencer with with Invincible art by Ryan Ottley.
Right, all
different, all new.
I was afraid to say it. I was like,
but it really is all new. It's very all different. So check that out because I will. I don't know what to expect. I read the Free Comic Book Day issue and I was like, meh. Like a great big meh.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like on the fence as far as whether I can endorse the book.
Right.
But I think you should check it out because...
I saw someone like in the chat mention why go back to number 1. I think because of the fact they want to let you know if you have not been reading Spider-Man because you didn't like Dan Slott.
Yes, this is a fresh start.
This is your time to shine.
Exactly.
So I think they're trying to do it to distance themselves from the last.
Yes, I'm very curious. And by the way, they're not going to fix everything in one issue, so I'd give it a couple issues, but I will be checking it out along with you. And we'll be covering it, no question.
No, absolutely.
So check that out. And of course, I think that's that. So I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us and watching this show, and of course supporting this channel. If you have never seen Comic Pop, click the subscribe button, click the bell, get the notifications. We make a lot of different videos and comics discussions and content, whatnot. But of course, if you are also Twitch inclined, go to the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ComicPOP. Watch everything we do over there. And we'll see you guys next week with another episode of the Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
Thanks a lot for watching.
Bye. Guys.